Alright, so usually when I'm making a bottle, a vase, I usually take care of the base first. Get the foam nicely curved, and then finish up this part. So when you see when I'm stretching, I didn't even stretch all the way to the top. So I still leave quite a bit of clay here on the top. So if I want to close and make it narrow or make it a smaller tall neck, I still have a clay here to work with. Right, so after I stretch to here, the clay here is still kind of thick, so I'm going to thin it down and then try to color in to make the top smaller. But here I still want to try to pour a little bit clay up. And this kind of shape is very dangerous because it's more horizontal. It's very easy to collapse. So usually you want to have a more curve instead of more horizontal shape here. So I'm getting my finger inside to push out a little dome. We can use a sponge to get a little bit of water here. And you don't have too much water to drip on the surface. So just put enough water there to lubricate it. And then I'm trying to color in by choking the neck here. My finger is kind of forming like this, and then just squeeze it, but make sure it is slippery. To make it a little bit narrower, I still want to pour up a little bit because the clay, when you are coloring, it's getting thicker, so you could lift it up. And for lifting of the narrow, the neck, you could use just a fingertip, like this fingertip, with the finger supporting on the inside and just a smaller index finger. And slowly squeeze and move the clay. And you see that I try to stabilize all my fingertips. The inside finger and then hanging out my thumb, and the thumb is bracing my index finger. And before I close further, I want to, because now it's still a little bit of opening, so I could reach inside to get this part smooth. And I can use the other side of the rib, the curved side of the rib to get the corner here smooth. Right, so when it's larger, I'm using my just whole fingers to color in, to chuck in. And when it's smaller, there are a couple ways when your cylinder is smaller. You can use a 6-point lifting. Okay, 6 point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And make sure it is slippery. So I'm using a sponge to put some water on the surface. So 6 point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Right, and I also want to show you another way of make the neck smaller. I call crawl. Okay, crawl. Just use the 5 fingers, hold it on the outer part, and then kind of pinch, and then lift. Okay. So make sure the finger is slippery. And then my right hand, okay, I can either do this or this to stabilize it. There's a little water drip. That's why you want to be a very final stage. Be careful with the water. So better to use just sponge to lubricate the point, so you don't have too much water drip on. Hold it here, and then my right hand supporting it. A little bit wobbly here, so still, I can still reach inside to stabilize it. Alright, so I'm focusing on how to narrow it down and get a shorter, narrow neck and tall neck. So you see that I use water very efficiently. My splash pan is dry. Even my bed is dry. Because once you got your foam and you are using the rib, you don't need to use a lot of water. Actually, when you're ribbing, you don't need any drip of water at all, unless you want to use a hand to make it narrow or color in. Then you just put some water on your sponge and then just focus on the portion that you want to narrow it. You see that my bed is very dry. Even my finger, the clay on my finger, on my hands is dry too. Okay, they all dried out. So that's tell you that I don't use a lot of water when I'm shaping. So the finger is dry. The hand, the fingers. Okay, so let me cut it open and show you. This is about 3 pounds of clay. And you watch all the way to the very end, so I'll show you. Okay. All right, so that's the wall. Because when I color in, I keep on lifting it up, so the neck is not very thick. Okay, not very thick, except for very bottom. Still a little bit thicker because you need to have some kind of thickness to hold the weight from the top. So that's why I usually the bottom is a bit thicker, and you can just trim it down. So it's not a big deal. All right, hope this helped. Use less water, okay? Less water and more practice. You should be able to do that. Right? Thanks for watching, and see you next time.